Welcome back. We have finally arrived. This is it. The grand finale of our series on Florence Scovel Shinn's classic, The Game of Life and How to Play It.
It is. And I think we've saved, well, maybe the most important part for last.
I think so, too. We've spent so much time on the rules, faith, karma, love, intuition. We've looked at the whole game board, all the pieces.
But today we're talking about the controller, the thing you actually use to play the game, the steering wheel.
Exactly. And Shinn kicks us off with a phrase that I have to admit sounds a little like a fairy tale at first.
It does.
She wrote back in 1925, "Your word is your wand."
Yeah, that immediately brings up images of, magic and Cinderella and waving a stick around.
It really does.
Yeah.
But you realize almost immediately she's not talking about magic tricks.
Yeah.
Not at all. She's talking about the directive power of your own speech.
The core of her argument is that this game isn't played with muscle. You don't win with brute force. You win with spiritual and mental direction.
And the word, what you say, what you even think, that's the steering wheel.
It's the activation mechanism. It's what connects the invisible thought to the visible world. Without the word, an idea is just static. It doesn't go anywhere.
So our mission today is to really decode what she calls the law of the word. We want to get past any of the woo stuff and get right into the psychology, the strategy of it all.
Exactly. To give you a final protocol for how to actually play this game, we'll look at how it shapes the subconscious, the danger of, just careless words.
What she calls boomerangs.
Right. And then the upgrade you get from what she calls clean speech.
I am so ready for this. And for everyone listening, if this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one. Okay, so let's get into Shinn's core point. She has this really fascinating way of describing the mind. We've talked about the conscious, subconscious, superconscious, but for the word, she really focuses on the subconscious.
She does. And her main analogy, and it was very high tech for the 1920s. It might sound a little retro to us now.
What is it?
She compares the subconscious mind to a sensitive disc, like a phonographic plate.
Oh, like an old vinyl record.
Exactly like a vinyl record. Imagine you're in a recording booth. She says every single word, every thought is like a voice singing into the horn, and it's being etched directly onto that disc.
And it doesn't edit anything.
It records everything. It doesn't say, oh, he was just joking, or she didn't really mean that. It just records the sound, the tone, the word, the hesitation. All of it gets carved into the groove.
That's actually a little terrifying when you think about it. I mean, how many times a day do I just vent about something, just to blow off steam? Like, it's fine. It's just venting. But Shinn is saying the subconscious is recording that as a command.
That is precisely what she's saying. She calls the subconscious a faithful servant. And I love that phrase because it implies total loyalty.
But also a total lack of judgment. A servant doesn't question the order.
Correct. A faithful servant doesn't argue. It doesn't say, are you sure you want me to do that? It just says, yes, master, and gets to work. And the key thing is, it has absolutely no sense of humor.
No sense of humor.
Yeah.
That's the kicker, isn't it? So if I make a self-deprecating joke like, ugh, I'm such a disaster today, it's not laughing along with me.
It's taking notes. It doesn't get irony. It doesn't get sarcasm.
Right.
If you speak failure, it records failure. If you speak success, it records success.
So this is why she makes that big distinction between describing your current situation versus declaring where you want to go.
Yes. This is a critical distinction that I think most people miss completely.
Okay, break that down for us. Direction versus description.
Well, most of us use our words like news reporters. We just describe what we see. The traffic is awful. I'm so tired. My boss is being difficult. We're just describing the problem. We call it being realistic.
Right, you don't want to sound delusional.
But Shinn says that in this game, your words are not supposed to be a description of the problem. They're supposed to be a decree of the solution.
A decree of the solution.
When you just describe the problem over and over, you are re-recording that old scratchy track on the record. You're telling your subconscious, this is the reality. Keep this one playing.
So instead of just reporting on the bad traffic, what do?
You don't ignore it, obviously, but you don't give it power. You speak what you want. You declare order. You affirm flow. And Shinn uses some very strong language here. She says, you have to smash and demolish the old untrue records.
Smash and demolish. It's very aggressive.
It is. But she says you don't do it by fighting the old thought. You do it by speaking the new truth with so much conviction that you literally record a new, louder, clearer song right over the old one.
I like that. It's not pretending. It's reprogramming.
Then
And speaking of that, let's try to translate this into plain English. For anyone listening who might be a bit skeptical of the metaphysics,
Of course.
does "my word is my wand" actually hold up when you look at, say, modern science?
It absolutely does. In fact, she was observing an effect that we now have the science to explain the cause of. We could start with philosophy. With the Stoics, they talked about the hegemonicon.
But what now?
Yeah.
Sounds like a robot from a sci-fi movie.
I know, it does. But it's just the Greek term for the ruling faculty of the mind, your core processor. And the Stoics believed you can't control what happens outside of you,
Right, you can't control the weather or other people.
but you have absolute control over your assent, your agreement. When you speak a negative thought out loud, "This is a disaster," you are giving your official assent. You're stamping it, approved. You're telling your mind, this is true.
You're locking it in.
You are. And modern psychology calls this priming. When you say certain words, you prime your brain to go look for matching evidence in your environment.
Like when you buy a new car, and suddenly you see that same car everywhere.
Exactly. That's your reticular activating system, or RAS. It's the filter for your brain. It's the bouncer. If you start your day saying, "Today is going to be so stressful," your RAS says, "Okay, roger that," looking for stress. And it will literally ignore opportunities for ease and highlight every little stressful thing.
The faithful servant is just fetching what you ordered.
It is. And then there's neuroplasticity. Shinn called them tracks in the mind. Science calls them neural pathways.
So, wait, when I complain about the same thing every day, I'm not just venting, I'm literally carving a physical groove in my brain.
Yes. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you repeat a phrase, you make it structurally easier for your brain to think that thought again. It becomes a superhighway. Pretty soon, it's just your automatic default reaction.
And I guess the words "I am" are the most powerful of all.
They're the two most powerful words in the language. Psychology shows us we have this deep, deep need to stay consistent with how we've labeled ourselves. If you say, "I am bad with money," your subconscious will work overtime to make sure you make choices that prove that label is true.
It's uncomfortable to act in a way that contradicts who you say you are.
Exactly. So Shinn isn't just talking about some cosmic law. She's talking about internal governance. You're the programmer. Your words are the code. And if the code is buggy, the whole system crashes.
Okay, so if words are that powerful, we have to talk about the danger zone. Shinn is very direct about this. Careless words aren't just neutral. They're dangerous.
He calls them boomerangs. And it's the perfect image. You throw a word out there, a complaint, an insult, and you think it's gone.
Yeah, you just move on.
But she says no. It travels in a circle, and it always comes back to you, usually with more momentum.
She talked a lot about gossip. And that one's tricky, because gossip can feel like a way to bond with people, right?
It's almost tribal. But Shinn says it's like an infection. Think about it. When you're gossiping, what are you focusing on? Betrayal, failure, judgment, negativity.
Right.
You are affirming to your own subconscious that this is how the world works. And so it says, okay, got it. I'll prepare for more betrayal and negativity. You start attracting the very thing you're judging in someone else.
So gossip literally binds you to the problem you think you're outside of.
It does. And then there's the person she calls the broken record. We all know this person. Maybe we've even been this person.
The one who tells their sad story to everyone who will listen. The victim narrative.
Yes, my life is so hard because of this person, or I never get a break because of that event. And every single time they tell that story, they are carving that neural pathway deeper and deeper. They are building a prison for themselves, and every complaint is another brick in the wall.
She has that really scary story about the woman who kept joking about living out of a suitcase.
That's a classic example. This woman, she wanted to travel more. But the phrase she kept using as a joke was, "I just wish I could live out of a suitcase."
And the subconscious doesn't get jokes.
It took her literally. She eventually lost her home and, in a very difficult way, ended up living out of a suitcase. The subconscious heard the image and delivered the image without the fun, glamorous context she had in her head.
It reminds me of that passage from the book of James that she references
Yes.
about the tongue.
Yes. A powerful one. The writer asks, can a spring produce both fresh water and salt water?
No.
Can a fig tree produce olives? Of course not. The point is, you cannot use your mouth to bless your life and declare success at 9 in the morning, and then use that same mouth to curse your commute or complain about a neighbor at 9:05.
It's a mixed signal.
It's a cancellation. You're neutralizing your own power. She would say you're being double-minded, and that creates instability in everything. You can't build something if you're knocking down every brick right after you lay it.
So we have the mechanics, we have the danger. Let's get to the upgrade. How do we actually do this right? She talks about clean speech.
And that's such a great term. It's not just about not using swear words. It's about speech that is clean of fear, clean of doubt, clean of complaint. It's truth plus direction.
Truth plus direction.
It is the conscious refusal to give voice to the negative expectation.
Okay, so in a practical sense, if things are genuinely going wrong, what does that look like? You can't just pretend there's no problem.
No, and that's where the power of blessing comes in. This is a huge part of her work. Blessing a person or a situation. And we need to translate that word bless. The original Greek is eulogio. Eu means good, and logos means word.
Like a eulogy.
Exactly. It literally just means to speak well of.
To speak well of. That's so simple.
It is. So when you bless a difficult situation, you're not saying it's okay. You're not approving of it. You are consciously choosing to speak well of the potential solution hidden within it. You are looking for the asset, not just the liability.
So if I bless a difficult coworker, I'm not being a doormat.
Not at all. You are strategically shifting your position. You're saying, I speak well of the divine order in this situation. I speak well of the harmony that is possible here. It breaks the resentment loop. You cannot be a victim of something that you are actively speaking well of.
It's like you're redirecting the energy instead of just absorbing it.
Precisely. It ties right into her law of non-resistance, the soft answer that turns away anger. A gentle word creates a space between the stimulus and your response. And in that space is your power to create, not just react.
You know, as we're talking about this, I feel like this law of the word is the thread that ties this entire series together. It's the key that unlocks all the other laws we've discussed.
It really is. It's the activation mechanism for every other principle, the enter key on the keyboard.
Okay, let's trace that. What about faith and expectancy?
Well, faith is acting as if. And what's the very first action? It's usually speech. You declare your faith, you speak your expectation before you can see any proof of it.
And karma.
The word is the seed, karma is the harvest. Simple as that. If you don't like the results you're getting, you have to change the words you're planting.
What about forgiveness? That's a hard one for people.
It is. And Shinn gives us a verbal tool. You use your word to cancel the debt. You actually say it out loud. I release this person in this situation. You might have to say it 100 times before you feel it, but the spoken word leads the emotion.
And casting the burden. That was a whole episode.
And the technique was a spoken phrase, wasn't it? I cast this burden and I go free. The word is the transfer mechanism, is how you formally evict worry from your mind.
It's like a legal declaration.
That's a perfect way to put it. It applies to love, which she says is a command you speak. To intuition, where you speak to direct, then become silent to listen, and to self-expression, the divine design.
You have to declare your right place.
You have to speak it into existence. First, you deny the lie, I am not stuck, then you affirm the truth. I am moving forward into my divine plan.
This is so practical. And since we want this to be more than just information, let's do a guided exercise.
Yeah.
We're calling this the word reset.
This is something you can do right now. It just takes a minute or two.
Okay, so for everyone listening, try this with us. Step 1 is identify.
Just find the dominant negative sentence you say all the time. Your go-to complaint, it might be, I'm always so tired, or I never have enough money, or things are always so difficult. What's your broken record?
Got it. Okay, step 2, interrogate.
Ask yourself a simple question about that sentence. Does this build my game or break it? Is the sentence helping me win? Is it even absolutely true, or is it just a habit?
That's a great question. Okay, step 3 is replace.
Now, create a new, clean direction statement. If the old one was, I'm always tired, the new one could be, I am filled with divine energy. If it was, I never have enough money, try, I am a magnet for divine supply. Make it active and positive.
Then step 4, speak and act.
This part is crucial. Say the new statement out loud. Let the air vibrate with it. And then, and this is key, take one small physical action that aligns with it. If your statement is about energy, go for a 5-minute walk. If it's about supply, go organize your wallet. Prove it to yourself.
You have to anchor the word with an action.
Action seals the deal. And finally, step 5 is remove contradiction. For the next 24 hours, identify one habit that contradicts your new statement and stop it. If you complain about traffic just for today, don't. If you gossip about a coworker just for today, choose not to. Go on a complaint fast. Don't plant a new seed and then immediately pour poison on it.
That's a powerful little exercise.
Yeah.
Which brings us to a weekly protocol. How do we keep this going so the old habits don't just creep back in?
because they will try. It's about building a system. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
So first in the protocol, the weekly review.
Right. At the end of the week, just look at your results and ask, what did my words order for me this week? Connect what you said to what you got.
Next, a daily word practice.
This is non-negotiable. Before you check your phone in the morning, before the world tells you what to think, you tell your day what it's going to be. Speak one direction statement. Today is a day of wonderful opportunities. Set your own tone first.
I love that. Then a repair practice. Because we're human, we're going to mess up.
Of course. The goal isn't perfection, it's quick repair. If you say something negative, just say out loud, I cancel that, and then restate the truth. If you have a tense interaction, use forgiveness to clean up the energy before you go to sleep.
Okay, then a focus practice.
When worry starts to creep in, use that casting the burden phrase immediately. Use your words to offload the weight in real time. Don't carry it around.
And finally, a guidance practice.
Before you make a big decision, just pause. Ask for a lead. Show me the way. And then be quiet for a moment and just listen.
I want to do some troubleshooting because I know people try this and then they say, it's not working for me. What are the common mistakes?
There are 5 big ones I see. The first is diagnosing instead of directing. That's where you just talk endlessly about how bad things are.
The fix.
Describe where you're going, not just where you are.
Okay, mistake number 2.
The double mind. You say affirmations in the morning, but then you complain all afternoon. The fix is the sweet and bitter water rule. Just aim for more consistency.
Mistake 3.
Gossip as bonding, using judgment to connect with other people. The fix is to try and connect through shared ideas or goals, not shared enemies.
Number 4.
This one is subtle. Begging versus decreeing. Asking the universe, please, 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 from a place of lack. Shinn says, to decree, speak with confident expectancy. Not begging for the meal, but placing your order.
That's a huge difference. Okay, and the last one, mistake number 5.
Ignoring the action. Speaking the words, but then just sitting on the couch. Faith without works is dead. The fix is simple. Speak, then move. Let your action be the amen to your word.
This has been just an incredible series. I feel like we've really gotten to the heart of Shinn's work. Let's do a quick recap of the big ideas from today.
Let's. First, that life is a game, not a fight, and your word is your main tool.
And the subconscious is that faithful servant. It's always recording what you speak.
So you have to stop recording those old records of failure and smash them by speaking a new truth.
And remember that gossip and fear talk are boomerangs. They always come back to the sender.
Use clean speech. That's truth plus direction to steer your own life.
Cast the burden of worry by speaking it away. Use that release statement.
And finally, train your imagination to see the pictures that agree with the words you're speaking.
It really is a complete operating system for life.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think the final thought from Shinn on all this is so powerful. She says, the game of life is ultimately a game of solitaire.
Solitaire. I didn't expect that.
I know. We think we're playing against our boss or the economy or our family, but we're not. We're only ever playing against our own limiting beliefs, our own old records. You're the writer, the director, and the actor.
So if you want a different movie,
You have to change the script. If you change the scripts, you change the game.
that is so liberating. Yeah. It puts the power right back in your own hands. Or, as she would say,
On your own tongue.
I just want to say thank you to everyone listening for taking this entire 12-part journey with us. I really hope unpacking this classic has given you some new tools for your own game.
It has been an absolute pleasure. And this isn't the end. We're going to take a short break, but we will be back with a brand new series on another classic text. I won't give it all away, but let's just say we're going from the 1920s in New York to somewhere much, much older.
I can't wait for that.
Me too.
Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.